pretty sure Ian Crossland predicted this, and this is the Rumble, the so-called neutral video platform, to go public. And it looks like they've partnered with Donald Trump's SPAC that he's managed to get onto, which unfortunately the SPAC itself it's able to receive funds directly from the Federal Reserve. So it's like some kind of accredited funding mechanism, which means it's going to have regulations on it to start off with. So I think we can fairly safely assume that Rumble was sold last week. Within a week, it's gone under the wings of this SPAC, which is a regulatable entity. So Rumble will probably become some kind of controlled opposition platform now, I believe. But I mean, the guys that built it have obviously made a lot of money from this. That's for sure. But this is it. Money always gets you, And this, one of the things to stress here is, fair play to Rumble. The guys at Rumble, they probably made a lot of money. Dan and I could go do that as well. We could build FreeSpeak up in the way that Rumble built itself up, and then go sell FreeSpeak off to some moneyed interests that will then go regulate it and tamper it down. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is we build it all open source. We build this stuff open source. We've got the desktop app that is open source, and it's in the control of all of you who own the network, and you're able to go fork it, copy it, do what you want with it. So there's very little value in Dan and I behaving in the same way that Rumble has with the FreeSpeak web app. And that's not the point. The point is that we are here to preserve free speech and guarantee it and allow it to be owned by the community, rather than us being able to make the decision to sell off whatever IP that we've built. We release it for free. And, Dan and I, as with the rest of you, will hopefully be able to lock in the value of that by token price rises and governance tokens and the ability to govern these platforms yourselves later. So it's a bit sad to see that's happened to Rumble. I would have ideally have liked the idea that Rumble would implement the Speak network technology and Hive into its protocol. I guess that's less and less likely now with the way it's going. But we'll keep fighting on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe we actually talked about this same tweet last week, but it still flows with what we were just talking about in terms of the free speech has been sold as something that you can make money off of, as the next big hype. And it's sad to see that anyone will package this and then try to sell it, because the very essence of free speech can't be sold. You can't have controllers. You can't make money off of it as a founder, or it's not technically free speech. So it's just you're just going to see this crazy ass backwards thinking of Web 2 people trying to understand Web 3, which is it's a polar opposite of Web 2 if you're going to make money, right? It's a confidence game. A lot of these Web 2 people had so many insider deals, had so many silver platters fed to them that they don't know how to actually see value if it's not just told what it is and handed to them and say, you're short, this is going to do good because of your connections. And the brutal shift is, the masses don't like that. And the few have fed so much that it's become obvious. And they've, there's yin and yang. They've gone to the edge, and you can't really go anymore with the stock prices and how things are and all the corruption. Everyone's waking up. And Web3 is going to be a cleanse. It's going to be very brutal. It's going to be very fast. And these people are going to keep trying to grab it and manufacture it and stamp it and package it and sell it. And you're going to have your short-term wins, but there's going to be a trail of skeletons. And these people are going to have very terrible reputations. And the idea of how these little rumbles and things are going to work are going to be vastly different. And then you're going to see these communities come up. And it's going to be this breath of fresh air. And it's going to be real censorship resistance. It's going to be real free speech. And then you're going to see millionaires printed, right? Why did NFTs? Why you have all these celebrities? Everyone in their family are getting involved in NFTs. Why? Because it went up in value. The same things are going to happen with these communities. The communities are going to become giant entities like corporations, but no legal, no strings attached, all voluntary. It's going to be a completely free-flowing feel where you don't need to be a accredited investor. There is no boundaries to get in. That's incredibly appealing in this day and age. And that's when you're going to see these vultures, right? Vulture capitalists. That's what they do. They're going to have to either die or transform and start to understand, this is the value. I don't create the market. I bend a knee to the market. And they will reinforce this. And they're going to come in late, and they're going to make a lot of people incredibly wealthy who've stuck through. Because, I'm not saying all hivers or anything, but this technology in general is going to have winners. It's going to have losers as well. But yeah, it's, this is not surprising at all. You're going to see Rumble. You're going to see all of them. All of these things that package as free speech and has inside investors are going to go public, because if you hear 100, we hear 100 million, right? Somebody might think that's a good deal. Oh, $100 million in venture capitalists. I hear 1 billion in debt, because that's what they're going to want to take out. They're going to want to extract 10x their value, liquid, from this community's soul, from the blood, sweat, and tears. They're going to extract it and leave, because they're not married to projects. Once they've made their money, they're not here to, they cash out when they think it's done, when they think, oh, this is maximum gain.
This is the power. This is the power of these organic, self-funded communities, right? That there is no value extractor apart from the community members themselves, and as a result, those community members have got an inherent incentive to add value to the token organically. And so, like you say, there won't be some major entity trying to extract $1 billion out of the value of the community. These members are going to have reasons to hold and maybe even pass this wealth on to the next generation. And I think a lot of this is going to bear out in these decentralized communities. It's going to be completely different sets of animals. Their behavior is going to be completely different compared to the way that venture capitalists run projects are.
Like Michael Saylor, he just bought another $80 million in Bitcoin today. He's saying, hey, look, this isn't a business. This is a savings account. Once you start looking at these protocols as infrastructure and not companies you can invest in, then you start to understand, oh, you don't cash out of these things. You leverage them. You borrow against them. You treat them as a store of value. These aren't short-term flips. That mentality is very rare. You had that, before the internet, you had fucking gold. There wasn't like anything else that you would do, like, oh, I'm going to hold this for 50 years. You don't think about companies that way unless you're Warren Buffett in the golden era of stocks. But you definitely don't think that way today, right? You're not trying to hold Coca-Cola for 50 years. No one is in this climate. So it's just, it's very interesting. Companies transforming to protocols as investors start to say, hey, I want to just, have something that's not going to be manipulated.